What does the reality of our existence mean? If the myths that have shaped our conscious understanding of the world are only illusions and dreamlike figments of our own imagination, is the search for meaning in our lives then a quest to uncover some hidden source of unconscious knowledge from which our conscious awareness is born? Is the purpose of life to gain access to our primal origins of consciousness and to embark on a journey to explore its depths? What is it about the power of mythology and its stories that speaks to a primal level of consciousness we all seem to innately possess? What is the ultimate source of our collective conscious experience, and how can mythology help us understand it? Welcome and thanks for joining us. I'm Shingai. Now hold tight and hold on to your vision's eye, for you are now in the MetaMythology. From the dawn of time, man has looked up at the stars, pondering our own place in the universe. But what of the stories weaved by our ancestors? The myths that have been passed down from generation to generation? Could these tales be more than just fantastical stories, but instead a deep-rooted portal into the primal origin of consciousness? The search for the truth can often lead us to unexpected places. Join us on a journey of discovery as we venture into the ancient realm of mythology to unearth the primal origins of consciousness and to explore how our own understanding of the human psyche is reflected in these stories from an age-old long past. Lush imagery, compelling stories, and rich symbolism provide a unique window into our thoughts and feelings, painting a vivid picture of the trials and tribulations that define our lives. We may be lost in a dreamlike fantasy, but this exploration of the collective mind reveals facts we could have never known otherwise. Let's dig deeper and uncover the truth behind these timeless wonders and use the knowledge we gain to gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. Welcome to the Unearthing the Primal Origins of Consciousness, a psychological analysis of mythology. We often turn to mythology as a way to make meaning out of the chaos of our modern lives. Mythology offers a powerful lens into our innermost thoughts, emotions, and conflicts, providing insights into our primal origins of consciousness. From the epic tales of the Greek gods to the powerful archetypes of ancient African folklore, mythology helps us uncover the hidden ways in which we perceive the world around us. It is through these epic stories and characters that we gain a deeper understanding of our innermost motivations and struggles. By gaining insight into our subconscious motivations and desires, we can begin to explore the inner workings of our minds, uncover the true depths of our consciousness, Exploring the primal origins of consciousness through stories of mythology offers a connection to the collective unconscious of humanity, an understanding of our humanity beyond the limits of knowledge and culture. Since time immemorial, humanity has sought to make sense of its existence through stories and myths. In mythology, we are presented with timeless tales of creation, destruction, pain, and joy. These stories often present us with archetypal characters that represent aspects of our human condition, as well as our struggle to come to terms with our reality. Mythology offers insight into our consciousness by presenting us with these characters and symbols that help us to comprehend the innermost struggles and fears. By exploring these characters, their motivations, and their storylines, we can draw parallel conclusions to our own life experiences and better understand the origins of our own innermost consciousness. An ancient African mythology tells the story of Anansi, a spider-like trickster who embodies both cleverness and deceit. Through his cunningness and desire to obtain knowledge, Anansi gains a greater understanding of the world and his place in it. We can see in Anansi a representation of our own consciousness, our desire to uncover the meaning of life and try to solve the paradoxes of our existence. Symbolic expression in mythology often gives us insight into our own primal consciousness. From Athena's strength to Osiris's resilience, these symbols often reflect aspects of our innermost nature. For instance, in Greek mythology, Medusa's ability to turn people to stone is understood as a figure of speech for understanding the fear of rejection and being cast out from society. Through its symbolic expression, mythology gives us a glimpse into our most basic emotions and reactions to various aspects of life. Ultimately, mythology is more than just stories of gods and goddesses. It is a window into our own minds. By exploring mythology's characters and symbols, we gain a better understanding of our primal nature and can better come to terms with the complexities of our own lives. Ancient African and Asian mythologies reveal some of the earliest archetypes of human consciousness. These archetypal characters are glimpses into the earliest millennia of human development and provide insight into our primal origins. African mythology is rich with mythological archetypes, from the wise Anansi, the trickster spider, to the protective deity Mamiwata. Those figures represent an important part of African culture, offering insight into life and human nature. Anansi, for example, is a reminder of the storytelling intellect and communication, while Mamiwata is a representation of divine protection and maternal care. In Asian mythology, similarly, offers deep insight into the earliest forms of consciousness. The Japanese goddess Amaterasu is a powerful representation of divine femininity, justice, and purity. She is a protector of the innocent and a symbol of the power of the sun, embodying strength and warmth. She draws crowds with her beauty and is respected as an important deity. The Greek prophet and demigod Prometheus represents the power of human potential and is a reminder of the consequences of our ambition and hubris. He is a cautionary character, representing the strengths to which humanity will go in the pursuit of power, and reminding us of the importance of humility and self-reflection. The insight gleaned from these ancient mythological archetypes can still be seen today in modern storytelling. These archetypes continue to be relevant in the human experience. They provide never-ending insight into our primal understanding of the world. By understanding them better, we can gain a better understanding of our own inner world. The primal archetypes of mythology often provide us with the key insights needed to explore the origins of consciousness. These archetypes are not only concrete characters, but symbolic characters that draw upon the cultural and ancestral understanding of our life. For example, in African mythology, Sekhmet is represented not only as a powerful lioness, but as a destroyer of enemies as well as a healer of the wounded. Moreover, in Norse mythology, Odin is a wise ruler and a protector of warriors. These archetypes serve to offer an understanding of humanity's primal consciousness, illustrated in the various forms of consciousness that are at play in our lives. At the heart of each archetype lies the concept of balance and harmony. For example, Sekhmet's destructive nature is balanced by her positive, healing abilities, while Odin offers guidance and direction in a strong and wise manner. In turn, these archetypes can allow us to understand ourselves better, connecting us to our conscious experiences through their stories and representation of the balance of life. The power of mythological archetypes also reflects on our ability to express the complexity of our emotions and experiences, both on an individual and a collective scale. For example, in the story of Odin, we learn of a higher power and strength that helps guide us to our destiny, much like our subconscious self. Similarly, Sekhmet's presence speaks of our ability to overcome our personal struggles, to embrace our capacity to both destruction and healing. Through their stories, these mythological archetypes can help us better understand our own individual and collective psychology. In the end, mythological archetypes serve as an important reminder that our consciousness is varied and complex. The tales of these powerful characters allow us to better understand our primal origin of consciousness, helping us to guide in our journey to self-discovery. Mythology has the power to bridge the gap between our primitive minds and our modern-day reality, helping us to gain a better, deeper understanding of our innermost selves. The psychology of symbolic expression in mythology is a profound field of study, connecting us to our primal origins of consciousness. Ancient myths and folklore tells tales of heroes and deities and heroes in the making and everyday people with unique symbolic stories around them. And through these symbolic stories, we're able to witness the human experience and its multifaceted forms. From the divine to the mundane, many ancient cultures used symbolism in their everyday speech as a means to communicate their beliefs, stories, and values. Symbolic expression carries a certain power, connecting us to our primal unconscious and offering insight into our inner workings. One example is seen in African mythology where Anansi, the spider trickster, used to represent the power of cunning. In Mesoamerica, Quetzalcoatl is seen as the godlike figure, embodying the power of wisdom and knowledge. In many stories, these characters and their behavior serve as symbolic vessels reflecting our innermost desires, wants, and motivations. Characters like Anansi and Quetzalcoatl provide us with insights into our primal natures, allowing us to acknowledge and negotiate our primal wants and connections. Through these symbolic characters, we can explore our individual drives and learn about ourselves in a meaningful way. And as our mythological archetypes continue to evolve, we are able to access more of our collective unconscious. Hercules, for example, exploring the hero myth and inspiring us to find strength in times of adversity. From Hercules to Anansi, our symbolic stories illustrate a certain strength that we can draw from in dark times, offering us comfort in times of distress. Ultimately, symbolic expression in mythology provides us with a unique lens into our primal origins. Our spiritual stories can help us to reflect on our inner truths, navigate our primal drives, and better understand our collective unconscious. In this way, mythology can be a powerful tool in our psychological development, helping us better understand ourselves. Examining the role of symbolic representations in mythology can help us unearth the primal origins of consciousness. By exploring how symbols are used to represent abstract concepts, we can gain a deeper understanding in ourselves and our shared human experience. Symbols are a key component of mythology and have been used for millennia as a way to represent complex ideas without the use of language. Symbols can explain ideas outside the realm of the physical world and can often provide insight where words fail. For example, in ancient African mythology, the sun is often depicted as a symbol of life-giving fire, while the moon is a symbol of death and rebirth. The symbol representation of the sun and the moon offers a greater understanding of our relationship with the natural world and of the cyclical nature of life. In addition to the sun and the moon, symbols are often used to represent aspects of the human condition. In Greek mythology, the myth of Pandora's box speaks of the dangers of curiosity and hubris, while the myth of Orpheus and Eurydice illustrates the tragedy of our mortality. Through the use of symbolism, these myths are able to represent complex psychological and philosophical concepts in a way that is easily understood. At its core, symbolism is used to reveal the hidden truth of our existence and to provide us with a greater understanding of consciousness. By exploring the role of symbolism in mythology, we are able to uncover the fundamental origins of identity and gain insight in how consciousness has evolved over time. The primal origins of consciousness have been a source of great intrigue and debate for philosophers, psychoanalysts, and spiritual seekers alike. Despite centuries of study, the exact nature of the inner self remains elusive. However, one can observe with objectivity the symbolic representations of the unconscious in mythology. Myths, with all their vivid imagery and powerful archetypes, can provide insightful and deeper insights into the workings of the psyche, giving a glimpse of the potential depths of human thought and experience. Myths often tell the stories of gods and goddesses, gods who represent natural phenomena and emotions, and goddesses who represent the primal emotion, intuition, and creative flow. They can be seen as tangible, even corporeal, representations of the power and complexity of the human psyche. For example, the ancient Greek goddess Demeter, the goddess of the harvest, is a powerful symbol of the connection between seasonal cycles and the cycles of life and death. In the myth of Demeter, her daughter is abducted to the underworld by Hades and allowed to return to Earth only during certain months of the year. This myth gives a deeper understanding of the inner psychological process of grief, loss, and mourning, and illustrates the cyclical nature of life and death. Myths also provide a lens through which psychological archetypes and their inner workings of the collective unconsciousness. For example, the myth of Theseus against the Minotaur in ancient Greece illustrates the heroic journey taken by the hero of the story. Theseus exemplifies the struggle against the powerful and dark elements of the inner self, and his victory symbolizes his growth and development. Similarly, the myth of Narcissus, the beautiful youth cursed to die because of his hubris, reflects the power of the ego and how the unchecked pursuit of perfection can lead us to death and destruction. Additionally, myths can offer insight into primitive psychological states and the struggle of human nature with the duel of good and evil. Ideas of the duality and concept of the shadow, as explored through tales of monsters and battles between gods and demigods, can provide a profound understanding of the struggle of human nature against darkness and despair. So, by examining symbolic representations of the inner self in myths, we can gain a deeper understanding of the primal origins of consciousness. Myths offer a window into the depths of the mind, allowing us to explore the complex origins of the psyche. What's more, they provide an opportunity to observe and reflect on the struggle between the conscious and the unconscious self, as well as to gain insight into human nature and its capacity for good and evil. The human condition is a complex one, often filled with sorrow, joy, and longing. It's a state of existence that's impossible to define, really. Mythology reveals that humanity has sought to understand what it means to be alive for thousands of years. Through the stories of gods and goddesses, humans have sought to identify the source of their pain and sorrow and joy and longing. They have examined the relationships between people, animals, and nature, as well as connections between them and the divine. In many mythological stories, humans are described as flawed creatures whose desires are far too often out of control. In the mythology of Adam and Eve speaks of the expulsion from the garden for taking and eating a forbidden fruit. This illuminates the effect of temptation and desire, and the consequences of our actions for being larger than expected. Other myths offer insights into our selfish and often difficult relationships with one another. The story of Cupid and Psyche in the Roman mythology tells of the beautiful princess torn between a love for the human and the obligations to the gods. This story speaks of the difficulty in choosing between love and loyalty, and the potential pain that follows when these two are pitted against each other. Perhaps one of the deepest revelations of the human condition shown in mythology is the idea of our immortality. For example, in Norse mythology, the gods are doomed to end in Ragnarok. This speaks of the idea of the impermanence of life and our universal understanding of death being unavoidable. It helps us to come to terms with our mortality and the realization that no matter how hard we try, our lives eventually come to an end. Ultimately, Mythology has provided us with a unique perspective on the human condition. Through stories of gods, goddesses, heroes, and their entanglements, we gain insight into our complicated and often confounding lives. We are able to see the beauty and the tragedy, the joy and the sorrow, which are a part of the human experience. Our world is complex and interesting, filled with creatures, characters, and stories that have reverberated for centuries. It is through mythology that we gain insight into how humans connect with one another and the world around us. Mythology serves as a vessel for understanding and appreciating the complexities of human relationships. In most ancient stories, characters are brought together by extraordinary circumstances and form bonds of friendship and loyalty, and sometimes even love. In Greek mythology, the mighty god Zeus descends from the heavens to earth to join with the nymph Io, setting an example of how love can transcend boundaries. Myths also illustrate the strength of the familial connection. Classic mythology often paints familial roles as absolute and unbreakable, even among the gods. In Roman and Greek mythology, the goddess Juno is always depicted as a devoted mother and wife, reinforcing the idea of a strong, lasting family bond. Even creatures in mythology are connected with each other and the human race. The mythological Hydra, for example, is a multi-headed serpent that is believed to represent the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth within our lives. This illustrates the shared cycle of cycle that we all experience, binding us together. Myths remind us of the important roles and connections that all plays in our lives. Characters in these stories often come together to form bonds that will be tested and strengthened throughout their adventures, just as we form connections with one another that are put to the test in our everyday lives. Examining how mythology helps explain human connection provides an opportunity for us to celebrate the power of our relationships, reaffirming where we seek connection and celebrate relationships. Myths have always served as a universal language to tell stories, express emotion, and influence society. They illustrate human struggles, joys, and fears, and often represent a collective consciousness. As such, these timeless stories provide insight into the psychological development of humans. Through mythology's narratives, we gain a deeper understanding of how our minds and emotions work together to form our sense of self. Other myths also offer insight into human psychological development by portraying characters as agents of change. In Norse mythology of Thor and Loki, Thor is seen as a symbol of wisdom and strength, and Loki as a symbol of deviousness and disharmony. Through this dynamic, readers can explore how the interplay between two opposing polarities can lead to insight and further growth of an individual. The psychological complexities found in mythology can also help us explore our inner motivators, fears, and behaviors. Narcissus, for example, reveals the consequence of narcissism, including the ability or inability to recognize and express emotions and connect with others. The myth serves as a powerful cautionary tale that speaks to our need for meaningful relationship. Ultimately, these narratives provide a platform for us to explore the psychological development of humans. Through the timeless stories of difficult mythologies, readers can gain insight into the dynamics of our inner selves and emotionally rich lessons about transcending our own limitations and potential. The ancient stories of mythology offer us insight into our primitive origins of consciousness. In the complex web of tales, archetypes, and symbols at play, we can explore the profound nature of our human condition, our collective understanding of the world, and our interpretations of the human condition and connection. Through mythology, we can learn to appreciate the beauty, complexity, and sheer power of our psyches, as well as the potential for tremendous transformation. Our collective journey through mythology has led us to uncover a wealth of hidden secrets, from the transformative power of storytelling to the primal origins of consciousness. By discovering our unique histories and understanding the stories that form our shared tapestry, we can unlock dormant powers, courage, and wisdom. It is through the myth that we delve into the unconscious depths of our psychology, illuminating a path of understanding and connection with our higher selves. The powerful imagery, archetypes, and symbols that myth has to offer us allow us to empathize with one another and foster a deeper understanding of our journeys through life. We can attain a deeper appreciation of both our collective and individual mythologies and use them as a source of strength, creativity, and knowledge. Whether we seek comfort, a greater understanding of the common human condition, or an unearthing of our primitive origins of consciousness, myth can provide us with deeply soulful stories, allowing us to open up to a world of possibilities. Embarking on a mythical journey allows us to explore the depths of our collective and individual psyches and to create meaning in the stories that we tell. The beginnings of consciousness can be traced back to the depths of time. For millennia, the mysteries of the mind, of thought and feeling have beguiled humanity. This ongoing quest has brought us closer to understanding the primal origins of consciousness. We must look beyond our five senses to unearth the most ancient of secrets. It is a journey through both space and time, as we recognize the ever-present connection between our past and present being. It is a quest to uncover the source of our most intimate connection to others and ourselves. A great refraction of planes and planes of existence unfolding along the way, a mythos, a labyrinth of emotions, sensations, and triumphs. Through this pilgrimage, we must trace our footprints and seek answers to the questions of our existence. This process, this intricate interplay between inner and outer worlds, is illuminated when we come into contact with the primal origins of consciousness. The ancients had a great reverence for the power of the mind. They understood that through thought is the source of our highest joys and deepest sorrows. They raised their eyes to the stars and looked for understanding. They sought connection and knowledge and insight, the very sustenance of our conscious existence. The art of storytelling is a powerful way to bring us into contact with our primal roots. It helps us access the deep wells of emotion we keep hidden and tackles the tough questions that come along with our consciousness. By learning from our past, we can build richer and more meaningful relationships in the present. Ultimately, the primal origins of consciousness are as mysterious as the vast expanse of the cosmos. To truly understand our consciousness, we must bravely explore the depths of our inner and outer realities. With our questions and our stories, we embark on a never-ending journey of discovery. unlocking the secrets of our past and gaining insights into the present. Thanks for watching. If you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe and like. Till next time.